Welcome to Talking Town, everyone. We are back and we are meeting the opposition as Ipswich welcome the football giant that is Man United this Sunday. Joining me today to look ahead to the big match is Jack from Red Manx TV. Don't forget, Talking Town is brought to you by Match Bingo. Playing Match Bingo, win cash prizes. Each time you play, you support the life-saving work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes, over 18s only. You know the score by now. Be gamble aware. So let's head into the chat with Jack. And I asked him about fan expectations as the Old Trafford faithful welcoming the Ruben Amorim era.
I think there's a lot of expectation now because you think of all the managers we've been through recently. I'm really thinking to myself, this is the last hope for us. Yeah, we need someone to help us succeed. And I'm hoping that Amorim can be the man. This season, probably it's a bit of an ask, but to get top four, I think, is going to be his main priority if he can. Because I think Erik Ten Hag left us in a pretty bad state, to be honest. I think Ruben Amorim done well to steady the ship a bit. So now he's got to take over. And yeah, I think Ineos will be expecting Ruben to get top four, maybe a trophy alongside it, a Europa League, an FA Cup, something like that would be good. But yeah, for me, top four. But if you can get a trophy as well, as I said, it would be really good for us.
Yeah. I mean, Amorim is certainly hot property at the moment, isn't he? I think it's 500 goals in 4 years with Sporting. 2 titles in Portugal, and of course something you'd have enjoyed. They demolished Man City in the Champions League, didn't they? So I mean, we always say on Talking Town like McKenna's one of the hottest properties in management in Europe, and I think Amorim's probably with him as well.
Yeah, definitely that. I think weren't Liverpool interested in him before they got Slot. So he's a very
and City, I think, and City, West Ham.
Yeah, and look what he done to City the other day as well. So yeah, he's definitely a hot property. I think he's done something really well with that 3-4-3 formation. I think he's got it to a T. Now, whether he can bring that style of play into this team, of course, is a question to be asked. But it's just whether he can really step up that level into the Premier League. Because we know a lot of these up-and-coming managers, once they get to the big boys, they do kind of struggle. But I think this guy, I think he's confident in himself as well. And when you're confident in yourself as a manager, you really believe you can go on and do something special. I think you can go and do it. That's what I think. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I mean, very interesting, isn't it? I mean, I'd like to see, the Ipswich have been down in the Football League for God knows how many years, 20 plus years, even floating down in League One. And obviously, as you'll know, we've gone back to the Premier League. So sometimes you look at the Premier League through a different lens when you're not actually involved in it. And like I said at the top there, United haven't won a Premier League since about 2013, I think. So I think it'd be nice to see United back in the mix because obviously you've had, something that would annoy you, but City obviously dominating. Was it 4 or 5 on the trot? You got Arsenal in there, throwing a Liverpool. I think it'd be quite good for domestic football to see, United back in that and competing for the title.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like right now, I think we're like 5 points off the top 4 and we sit in 13th. So that's how close it is, really. It's actually not as bad as fans really think it is. And we're probably asking Amorim to do a massive job. But if you look at the table, it doesn't even look that big on paper. But it's just because all the other teams like Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, you go on Liverpool, how well they're doing. There's so much pressure to get to that level. Of course, you've got to have patience as a fan. And we're back here again. I said it under Ten Hag. Give him 3 or 4 years. Got to have patience. We're going to be at the same stage right now. But I think we really got to believe in what we got now. And with this manager, I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's definitely our last chance to go on and say, do you know what? We can compete at a top level. We can, compete with Man City. And of course, Pep Guardiola's got another year now. We knew it was going to happen. But yeah, I just think it would take a lot to compete with those teams. But yeah, he is going to need a lot of time. But whether he will get that, we're unsure at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Where did it all go wrong for Erik Ten Hag, in your opinion, then? Because he came with a big fanfare, like Amorim's came in from Ajax, where he'd done well, won titles, etc. I think he'd taken them to the, was it Champions League semi against Spurs?
Yeah,
so he came in with someone who looked like he could make an impact at Old Trafford. But where did it go wrong for him, do you think?
I said it on my channel. I genuinely think he sacked himself. It was just, genuinely, I'm not even joking, it was crazy decision makings. Like, we talk about it this season, Amad Diallo, he started playing him a bit, and then he just randomly dropped him for absolutely no reason. He was out the team, and I just think sometimes, as a manager, you have every right to believe in yourself, you're making the right decisions, but when you have players like Rashford, who's not played well for God knows how long. You're keeping him in the side week in, week out. Like, you're expecting him to change the next game. Doesn't work. Change the next game. It's not going to work. You have to be honest as a manager. You have to take risks. If it's going to upset him, you can't give a crap about that, because as a manager, you're in the job. You want to keep your job. You got to make the right decisions, and you have to drop players who are not performing well. And he never did that for his whole time here. He stood by what he believed in. And he just never changed the style of, what was the style of play? I don't know. That's another thing. 2 or 3 years in the job, I never knew what his style of play was.
I saw you. You said that on your channel. You said we've got an identity. It's just not scoring. It's not keeping possession enough. Yeah. It's not competing.
And it came to the point where every game I knew what was going to happen. I knew we were going to concede goals. I knew we were going to see crap football. And generally, it was getting to the point where I wasn't enjoying watching the team. That's how bad it was getting, really. It was really, really toxic towards the last couple of months or so. And I think the players really felt that as well. You could see the players weren't really given 100%. And it was just, we would get a good result and we'd never be able to build on it as well. And that was a major problem for us.
He just couldn't get the momentum. I guess he would have maybe got the bullet if you hadn't won the FA Cup. I suppose that just gave him a bit of a stay of execution, didn't it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I was at that game. I was lucky enough to go to it and be there live to watch it. Unreal, unbelievable, best I've seen in like years and years and years. And I just thought after that, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what he needed. The performance was exceptional. Like, we outplayed City. I know they were saying, they were tired, etc. I didn't believe any of that. Just own up to it. We were the better team on the day.
Yeah.
And just from then, I think every fan believed that we were going to go on and have a big future under Ten Hag. And it just never happened. And as I said, I think he genuinely sacked himself by making crazy decisions in the team and sticking by what he thought was going to work with the team, but it was never going to happen.
I suppose that, you talk about the Wembley trip there in the FA Cup final. I suppose if you just rewind the tape back to the semi-final where you blew the 3-goal lead against Coventry. I mean, I suppose that's the balancing act, wasn't it? You saw the best of Ten Hag in the final, yet the worst maybe in the semi-final, but you got away with that one thanks to VAR.
Yeah, genuinely, that FA Cup run was one of the most mental FA Cup runs I think I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, the fact you even, we went 2-0 or 3-0 up against Coventry, the fact you can bottle that in that position is crazy to me. Because all you need to do is be stabilised at the back, keep it basic, and you're playing Coventry. I know they're a decent side in the Championship, and they sacked their manager now as well for some odd reason. I'm not too sure, but
it'd have been good for you, Robins. United history.
Robins, yeah. It would have been good for us. But no, I'd take Amorim all day over him, to be fair. But it was just a mental FA Cup run, and as you said, the best and the worst of Ten Hag, really. But it was just something I was never going to be able to be stable again. I think after that, when you keep on trying to build momentum, next game you see the worst of us again. Next game after that, you look forward to it. You get a decent result. You're buzzing off it. And then we're saying, do you know what? We'll give you another chance to build on it. It just never happened. So it was majorly concerning at the end. And rightfully so, I think. It was time for a new chapter, really.
Yeah. And obviously, you got a new chapter with the ownership, as you mentioned earlier, Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe. I mean, I suppose they wanted their own man to come in as well, I guess. I mean, that's always, we saw that at Ipswich when, we had the American ownership came through, and then we had Paul Cook there, and then McKenna came in. Slightly bigger club in Manchester United, but the same kind of thinking, I suppose. They wanted their own guy in.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. I think the style of play that the manager's going to play as well, that 3-4-3 attacking formation, high tempo, high intensity, is exactly the sort of manager that Ineos were looking for as well. Of course, after the FA Cup final, they really were in a position where I think they would have lost some of the fans if they didn't keep Ten Hag, because we were all calling for him to stay. And right yourself, that, because you did deserve another chance after doing what you did against City. But this sort of guy, you can tell they had lined up already. It wasn't long after we sacked Ten Hag. So obviously they were already there talking to him behind the scenes. And I think it's definitely, as I mentioned earlier, the right type of candidate for us, up and coming, young manager, attacking football. When's the last time we saw attacking football at United? I can't tell you that, to be honest with you. So I think that's also bringing a bit of excitement to the fans as well. And I think on Sunday, we're going to see a glimpse of what he's going to be about. I'd love to go there on Sunday and win 3 or 4-0. I'd absolutely love it. Go there, set yourself, make an example of Ipswich, and then, fans are pleased, but I just want to see a glimpse of what's to come. That's what I'd be happy with, and hopefully we will.
It's going to be, like you say, it's going to be, because United are sort of traditional wingers, weren't they? You think of Giggsy under and Lee Sharp and the like under Fergie. Have you got the personnel to do this 3-4-3? Like some of the things we've seen with United fans like yourself saying, Goldbridge will say, look, the team are lacking energy. They haven't got the pace. Casemiro's too slow. Do you feel like in the transition you can do the 3-4-3? I mean, he hasn't had that much time to work with them with the injuries and the international break as well, has he?
Yeah, that's genuinely the thing that I said on my channel for my preview for the game, which will be out some point tomorrow, I think. It'll be difficult for him to really put on a show against Ipswich. And I think fans, I said they have to be patient. We're not going to see the full swing. We're not going to execute it to perfection, this style of play, because, as you mentioned, he's been working with United for 2 or 3 days. And of course, players are coming back from international duty. And it will take weeks. It will generally take weeks or months to get these players playing that style of play to perfection, or to be able to execute it to perfection. So I think it's also about their mentality. We know our players' mentality is not good at all. I think a lot of managers will know that. The players will know that. You get on the bad side of the players, or we go on a bad run and heads drop with these players. So it's just about sorting out their mentality, because I think if they put their mind to it, these players are capable of doing absolutely anything, because we've got some great players. But it's just about when the moments get tough, they tend to give up on themselves. But with that 3-4-3 formation, what I was thinking, of course, they like to play tight. He likes to play the players tight in the front three. So you'll have maybe Rashford start up top on Sunday, and then just in behind him, you'll have Bruno and Diallo, or maybe Bruno and Garnacho. It's going to be difficult to please everyone, and he's got to find the right players to suit the system. It's not going to please everyone. Players are going to be unhappy because certain fan favourites, they might not be involved every single week because they might not fit the system. But I also think it's a massive opportunity for players that haven't been in the side recently to impress this manager. And it's really a clean slate for everyone. And that's what I like as well. It's a clean slate for the fans. It's a clean slate, especially for the players. And I think in their mind as well, they're going to be extra motivated to go on and impress the manager, really, aren't they?
Do you feel like you saw the green shoots of that kind of attitude shift under Van Nistelrooy? It was a good win, wasn't it, over Leicester? They had a good game with us at Portman Road. Probably lucky to get 3 points in the end. Leicester, they scored right at the end in a 1-1 draw. But United looked pretty good under Van Nistelrooy in that 3-0 win. Was it? I think Bruno got one. Debatable whether it was an own goal, the other one. But it looked a good performance to me.
Yeah, to be fair, I was at that game as well. So it was good to see a win. But I kind of expected it, because when a manager goes, typically with these Manchester United players, I see it all the time. The game after, they go and put on a show. They go and score goals for fun, like we did against Leicester in the Cup as well. And we'll do it again against Leicester in the league. That's what I literally said on my channel. We'll go and score goals now, because these players, fresh minds. It's a new chapter, a new challenge for them, really. And I think they did it for Ruben Amorim as well. That's what I said on my channel. Go and do it for Ruben Amorim. Don't do it for Ten Hag anymore because he's not here. Go and do it for us fans. Go and get us a couple of goals. Go and show us that you can play at that level. Go and show us you are motivated to go on and be successful in this team. But more importantly, go and do it for Ruben Amorim.
Yeah. Where do you think Ipswich can hurt you on Sunday? Obviously, we went to Spurs. We said on our channel we was expecting a bloodbath given the goals that Spurs have been scoring at home. Somehow we pull out a 2-1 win, Jack. We counted very well in that game, and we get on very much on the front foot. There'll be 30,000 there on Sunday afternoon at Portman Road. It'll be a really big crowd. They'll be behind the team. We're coming in with momentum. It could have been so different. Do you know what I mean? You lose at Spurs. Amorim's first game at Man United. Oh God, we're lambs to the slaughter here. But the context changes with 3 points at Tottenham. Where do you think Town can probably hurt you? I mean, we've got Delap, who you'd have seen. He'll be signed from Manchester City. Everyone's talking about him playing for the England seniors coming through. He's probably 4th rated striker at the moment. Sammy Smodik's got a really good overhead kick at Spurs, Championship top scorer last season. Are you looking at those two players in particular and thinking they could hurt your defence?
Do you know what? We're going to be in that 3-4-3 formation for the first time. So we're not going to be in full swing. We're going to find it probably difficult in the first couple of games. There's going to be mistakes. But where I think you can definitely get at us is that right-hand side. Because Diego Dallo's not playing well at the moment. Lenny Yoro is going to come in as well, and it'll be his first game in a while. Whether he's going to be fully fit, up to the speed, we're not too sure. So the way you can hurt us is definitely with Delap. Will we start? Will be Smodix, Delap? You play.
Yeah, there's a question mark over who might be on the right-hand side, whether or not that be Amari over there. I'm not sure. We lost to Ogbeni, who's the Irish international. He's out for the season, so we can't not quite sure who's going to be on the right-hand side, but certainly centrally in the 9 will be Delap, and Smodic likes to start on the left of Delap, and then he kind of ranges in centrally. And then you'll have Amari or maybe a Wes Burns. There'll be some pace there on that right-hand side, certainly.
Yeah, definitely through Delap at the moment. He's in really good form. I'm really liking him as well. He's a very, very good player. And if you do end up staying up, he'll definitely be the main case of it, in my opinion, because he'll score you enough goals. It's just about, for me, whether you can keep him out over the other side towards the end of the season, because I do think, of course, the quality issue is there. And, of course, coming up from the Championship, it's always difficult for those type of teams to stay in the league. It does take a lot because the Premier League's getting better and better every single year, isn't it? So, yeah, but definitely down that right-hand side, because Dallo's, he's a great player. Had a really good season for us last season, but he's just not up to speed for me. So you can get us on that wing. Again, set pieces as well, crosses. We're not the best at in general. So definitely.
We've reached half time in our Meet the Opposition show with Jack from Red Manx TV. If you're enjoying it, then like and subscribe. You'll never miss a Talking Town show as Ipswich's Premier League campaign heads through those winter months. And whilst you're brewing the kettle, consider supporting the East Anglian Air Ambulance by playing their weekly lottery. The easiest way is online. Sign up for just £1 per ticket. Head to the link in the description or on the screen right now. Players must be 18 or over and be gamble away. So let's get back to talking Man United with Jack. Yeah, it's interesting you should say that. We've obviously got Leif Davis, who's the all-time championship assist maker from the championship last season. And again, he's people think he's knocking on the door of an England call up at that left back spot. Obviously, Lewis Hall got the nod for the Nations League from Newcastle, but certainly, I mean, I don't know if you saw our game against Brentford. Davis puts in a fantastic cross, straight Johnny on the spot to Delap, and he, we thought we were going to get a point out of that. Unfortunately, we didn't. But you're thinking that could hurt United, do you? That maybe a cross from the left into Delap, essentially.
Yeah, genuinely, I've seen it. I know we're under different management now, different coaching, but a lot of the time in our Champions League campaign and in our Premier League one so far this season, we do tend to concede a lot of crosses, a lot of set pieces. So I do think that will be a problem for us if you do get involved in those crossing paths. But yeah, genuinely, I am a bit scared going away to you with Delap up top and first game under Amorim. It's a bit tricky. Don't know what to expect. I do hope that we go there and batter you. Of course I do. I want to see that. But there's also going away first. If it was a home game, I'd be even more confident than I am. And I still am quite confident because of the manager we've got and the players we're going to bring into the squad. Because I mentioned Lenny Yoro's returning. There's a new start for Rashford up top. Apparently we're starting on striker on Sunday. So that's going to be really interesting to see how he does there. But, as I mentioned, these players are going to have a lot to prove to the manager. So that's why I'm confident they're going to put in a good performance on Sunday.
It's good you mentioned Rashford, because that was my next question for you. I mean, is he still a key player for Man United? He seems to have a couple of seasons ago, he scored a decent amount of goals, didn't he? And he sort of dropped off the radar a little bit. And he's off the, didn't go to the Euros, did he, in the summer? I mean, what's going on with him at the moment?
I just think he doesn't enjoy football anymore. That's generally what I think, because you see him on the pitch, his body language is terrible. His attitude is terrible. He doesn't track back. He's a bit lazy. As soon as he loses the ball, he gives up. I don't know if the criticism has got to him. You always see these Twitter tweets and stuff going out at night, partying, etc. But a few years ago, as you mentioned, he scored so many goals for us. I was thinking, do you know what? This guy for the future is going to be so good. He's going to be with us, going to score 20 plus goals every season. And it's just not happened. I mean, it never worked out for him at striker. And we were all calling for that. It was a major problem under Ten Hag in his first year as well. And to be honest, the beginning of the second as well, he kept on playing Rashford at striker. Never working. It was never working because he never really had the attitude to do it. Or he never had the motivation to chase down players. And as I mentioned earlier, always gave up on the ball. And he was never clinical as well. He lost his clinical. What's the word? Lost his clinical. What's the word?
His clinical striking prowess, maybe.
Yes, something
along those lines.
Like that. Yeah,
Certainly wasn't scoring the goals that you were used to, anyway.
Yeah, definitely, and that's where we were really, really struggling. And even now that he's on the wings, he's still not doing a good enough job for me. He really isn't. He's so much better than that. So much better than he is right now, and it's just such a shame because us fans know how good he can be. But I just think, it's a problem which if Amorim can fix it, amazing. Because if you can get him back scoring goals, He's more of a confidence player as well. He gets 1 or 2 goals, he'll find the net again in the next game. But it's just about keeping him stable in the team. But again, you can't really do that if he's not performing. So it's a bit of a tricky one, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you think he's going to be starting? So if he's in at 3, who's going to be the 2 with him? Do you think is Rasmus going to feature? I know he's a favourite of yours, isn't he?
Yeah, I absolutely love Rasmus. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. Recently, he's not been good. I'll admit that. Really not been good. But
he arrived at you injured as well, didn't he? So I mean, he struggled a little bit there.
Yeah, he has struggled. He got into a good rhythm scoring goals once he got that first one, because it took a while for him to get his first goal. But that was a good feeling for him. And I think as a striker, he's got everything you want a striker to have. He can hold up play really well. He's fast in behind. He can find the net really well. Just a few weeks ago, he's got a really good chip goal in one of the games that we played. But I do think it will be Rashford up top. You might go with Rasmus. You never know. He's our main striker at the moment. But I just think he'll trust Rashford in this one to go striker. And in behind, it'll be Bruno and Amad Diallo playing really close to him, I think.
Okay. Diallo's an interesting one, actually, because we kind of, before we got Amari Hutchinson, and he was a name that was being mentioned to us as someone who might come and play in the Championship. I think he'd been at Sunderland, didn't he, where he'd had pretty good season. In the end, we went with Amari, and in the end, the season later, we end up buying him. But what kind of player is Diallo? From the highlights I've seen, he looks very similar to Hutchinson in the kind of like a 10 role. He's running at defence. He's scaring people with pace. You expect him to do that if he starts at Portman Road?
Yeah, I was absolutely buzzing when Ruben Amorim decided to start him against Leicester. I was absolutely buzzing, so I think he deserved it. And he's a player which, it gets the crowd up. And we've not had a player like that. It gets the crowd up, buzzing, off their feet for a very, very long time. He's very skillful. Like, he adds a different bit of creativity to the team, which again, in our forward line, we have been lacking for such a long time. So I think you have that guy Nacho on the left, who's very greedy but can find the net. He's done really well for us this season, but he doesn't offer you that extra bit of creativity with the assist side of things. You've got Rasmus again, who recently, when he's not on form, you don't really have anyone else, if Amad Diallo is not starting, to create for him. So I just think he's a very skillful player. He can get you goals, he can get you assists, and as I mentioned, he just gets you off your seat. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah. Another player who sort of dropped off the radar a bit at United is Mason Mount. Do you think Amorim might be able to get him back into the side? Is he struggling with injury at the moment, or is he just in and out due to form?
He's back from injury now. I've seen him in training, but whether he starts the game, it'd be a shock to me if he did start on Sunday. I don't think he would. Similar to Kobbie Mainoo, I just don't think he'll rush him straight back in. I don't think it's fair to break up that partnership of Manuel Ugarte and Casemiro yet, because they've been really well together. So with Mount, it's a tricky one, because does he have the legs to play in an 8? I don't think he does. But does he have the creativity in him to play as a number 10 or something like that? I'm not too sure he does either. So it's a really tricky one. Whether Mason Mount will ever get back to his best, I don't know. We'll have to see. I do think this might be Mason Mount's last chance to really impress the manager. But if I was to play him, I'd definitely play him in a role similar to where you play Diallo. I would not play him in an 8 position. I'd rather stick with Kobbie Mainoo and Ugarte, or Casemiro and Ugarte, or Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo. So yeah, I definitely think if it does click for him, he can do well. I do think there's a player in there, but it's just about whether we can really get him back up to full fitness and in that same level a few years ago at Chelsea and Derby.
Yeah, okay. Well, in the summer, do you think Amorim will go back and raid Sporting Lisbon? Like your core is, have he scored all those goals, hasn't he, in Portugal? Something like 70 goals or something in about as many appearances. It seems like he might be on the radar for you in the future.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental, that Gyökeres guy at the moment. Someone will definitely snatch him up. Apparently, I've seen that he has a gentleman's agreement to leave for 60, 70 million. If it's true, I'm not too sure, but I don't know if he'll go back to that, because then people will think, oh, he's doing the same thing Ten Hag did by raiding Ajax, raiding Sporting now. But again, is he a player which I'd take at United? 100%. But, would he be a player which can step up to this level as well? That's what you have to answer. It's all right doing it for internationals against Azerbaijan or in Portugal, completely. That's good. But it's just like to do it against City as well, amazing. So, I mean, I don't think he will raid him as much as Ten Hag did with Ajax. But there may be 1 or 2 players he might snatch out there in the summer once they get a bit cheaper or something. Yeah, possibly, mate.
It'd be interesting. Well, I'm hoping Ipswich survive this season so we can play you again next season, and we can find out. Look, Jack, we're at the end of the show here. It's great to welcome Man United back. I mean, I don't think we've beaten you since September '94, which was the season when you done us 9-0, but we won 3-2. Yeah, we won 3-2 at Portman Road. Everyone forgets that one because of the 9 goals. But I think Paul Scholes scored his first league goal, I think, maybe, for Man United in that game. But it's great to welcome you back. Like, we've been used to playing Morecambe and Fleetwood, and then we get promoted out of League One. And then, we find we go right through to the Championship. We are welcoming
no one really thought Ipswich would be back in the Premier League. They certainly really did they? So,
no. I mean, only people with blue tinted spectacles probably thought we were going to go back to back. But before I finish, what's your feeling on McKenna? Obviously, he's come through the system at United, and Mourinho liked him and kind of promoted him into the first team. Then he leaves and gets his chance with us. And when he did come to Ipswich, there was very few Town fans who really knew. If they were being honest, were probably saying Kieran who. So I mean, look, he's probably on the Mount Rushmore of great Ipswich Town managers now, given what he's done for us, rubbing shoulders with Alf Ramsey and Bobby Robson. Are you as a United fans surprised by that? Do you think he's someone who might come back to Old Trafford as the main manager in the future?
Do you know what? You never know, do you? You never know what can happen in the future. But yeah, I've been really, really impressed with what he's done at Ipswich, because going into that role like that, obviously, as an Ipswich fan, you probably thought, is this the right appointment? Is he going to do this well?
Times by me. Yeah.
Is it worth really trusting this young manager who was a coaching staff at Manchester United to really come in and do a job? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But going up straight, was it back-to-back promotions for you guys?
Yeah,
that's absolutely amazing. So massive credit to him, and I do hope you guys stay up, because I do think you do have the team to do it. Like the lap up top, you can keep him fit, scoring goals for the season. It definitely help you out for staying up this season. Where do you think you're going to finish?
Well, we're 17th for the moment. I'll take that now. I'll put your hand up for that one right now.
And also Calvin Phillips as well, another player which might help you stay up. Whether you can get him back to being his best, I don't know. I think he's always going to be he's always going to be that steady player now. But as I mentioned earlier, it's just about, with these teams coming up, being solid defensively and not making mistakes. I always say it about all these teams coming up. If you can keep enough goals out, and you can also find the nets more than most games, then you definitely have a good chance of staying up. Because Southampton, really, I see them as a team going down this season. Of course, who else came up? Was it you, Ipswich, and
Leicester?
Leicester, yeah. And to be fair, Leicester are a team which they also have the quality in there to stay up. So it's really tricky. I mean, I couldn't really decide on what 3 teams I picked to go down this season, because it's always so tricky. But you don't want to see 3 championship teams go straight back down. I don't want to see
last season. Yeah.
I never want to see that. I know it happened last season, didn't it? But I never want to see that happen. But I'd definitely give you a decent chance of staying up. As I mentioned, it's just about if you can get enough goals and keep them out, really.
You're so right about defensively. We've discussed this in the summer, really. You look at someone like Luton. They actually scored more goals in the Premier League than they did over the 46 games that got promoted in the Championship. It was just the other end. They were conceding. It was. I think the 3 teams put together nearly conceded 300 goals, which is just like ludicrous. And we have made individual errors, but we'll see. We'll see what happens on Sunday, Jack. Go on and give us your prediction and what you're thinking. You're coming to Portman Road. What do you reckon?
I think I've got to be confident. But again, there's always that chance. First game for a manager away from home. There's always that chance for a shock. And that's what I don't like. I don't like being too confident. And on Sunday, we end up losing 1-0 or 2-1. And I come back to bite me, won't it? But I'm going to say Manchester United to win this one 3-1. I'll go 3-1. I'll give you a goal.
So there you go. Brilliant to chat with Jack. And the good news is the content doesn't stop there on Talking Town, because me and the Gov are back this Friday night, 8 p.m, as we count down to Man United at Portman Road on Sunday. And a big shout out to our sponsors, Stone Market Osteopaths. Don't live your life in pain. Call Freddie 01449 613 633. Tell him the Gov from Talking Town has sent you.